Well, the only kind of band I could support is Ray-Ban. Yahoo! Suicidalists, it is Friday again. Happy Friday. And it is review time. So this week, you and I are going to get into the suicidal time machine. We're going to be magically whisked away to the year 1982 for a look at the James Glickenhaus Bond-exploitation picture, The Soldier. Now, for weeks, my friend Trevor has been bugging me to do a review of the Scream Factory Blu-ray of Albert Pyun's Captain America. But let's face it, that would entail me actually going out and buying a copy of the Blu-ray of Captain America, and I really don't care for that. I just don't care to revisit that movie. So I have instead opted to fall back on his contingency plan of this movie, The Soldier, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But first, no hotness? Really? No, I'm sorry, I hurt your feelings, Tom Savini. Been a weird week, I guess. Nothing really to talk about. Let's get to it. Here's the review. So, it's the 1980s, and this is a time when the streets of Washington, D.C. are positively littered with sneaky KGB operatives who are disguised as old women pushing baby carriages across the streets in the wee hours of the morning. In the path of oncoming official state limousines with submachine guns hidden in the baby carriage. Now, thankfully for the land of the free, we have a covert five-man action team on hand to be in the right place at the right time to hose those Ruskies down with high-velocity lead. So remember those guys because they will be important later. So, a sneaky, sinister KGB agent sneaks into the United States. He hijacks a plutonium shipment, sneaks the plutonium out of the country, and puts it into a bomb in an oil barrel in a Saudi oil field where he's holding half of the world's oil supply hostage. What do they want, the Soviets, as ransom? Why, of course, they want the Israelis out of the West Bank for some fucking reason. The Israelis positively refuse to back down and get out of the West Bank, which forces the United States to dispatch its secret weapon, codenamed the Soldier. So the Soldier is a one-man Black Ops dude who is sent to Europe to figure out what's going on and possibly put an end to this. But he is stymied at every turn by rival Soviets and some double agents. And then when the head of the CIA is assassinated by the KGB, he's left all alone out there in the field to sort of find his way and figure it out. Meanwhile, the U.S. is ready to forcibly remove the Israelis from the West Bank themselves in order to rescue their precious oil supply. So, will the Soldier manage to defuse this situation before there's a nuclear war going on? Probably, but it's not like any of this makes any fucking sense. The Soldier, James Glickenhaus. I don't even know where to start with this one. I'm a fan of Glickenhaus. He's made a couple of movies that I really love. I really love his vigilante Taxi Driver Death Wish ripoff, The Exterminator. I also love the movie he made with Jackie Chan and Danny Aiello, The Protector. It's unbelievably fucking stupid, even by martial arts movie standards. But The Soldier outdoes both of them in terms of how far it reaches with its story. And while I don't necessarily expect an exploitation movie to tell me an engaging story, that's not really what exploitation movies are out for. It's actually a really specific thing, and Glickenhaus was an exploitation director from the start, but this is a movie that by the time the credits roll, the end credits, you're going to be left wondering what the fuck that movie was even about. The movie's biggest problem is definitely in its terrorist plot and the how convoluted it is. This is unbelievably complicated. It was clearly written by a madman who had no idea what the bad guys in the 80s were up to. And as much as I love the 80s jingoistic, torn from the headlines action movies as the next guy, this is some fucked up shit. So, the Soviets send a sneaky KGB agent and a couple of cronies to America to steal some plutonium that they're going to use to make a bomb, and then they're going to use that bomb to hold a Saudi oil field hostage in order to force the Israelis out of the West Bank?
Shut up, punk.
Why would the Soviets even do that? Now, I can only assume that in this case, they're doing the Palestinians a solid, but to what end? And how do the Saudi Arabians feel about this? I mean, I'm sure that they would love to see the Israelis out of the West Bank. I mean, that's kind of their thing, but we're talking about 50% of their potential income. There has got to be a better way. And why are the Soviets stealing American plutonium to make a bomb? This was a time when the Soviets put a nuke on everything, on every conceivable weapon. Surely they could have used one of their own warheads. I mean, certainly they had a surplus. And on top of this, the CIA sends one guy and doesn't bother to tell the Joint Chiefs of Staff that they've got everything under control in Europe. This is a really shitty plan, you guys. Look, I know, it's a cheapo grindhouse picture, and I am giving it undue analysis here, but for the love of fuck, Glickenhaus, open a newspaper once in a while. I mean, the U.S. turning on Israel? Are you fucking crazy? So, the script is obviously written by the insane, and the plot doesn't make a lick of sense, but it is tons of fun, and it really does manage to entertain in spite of this. The picture's star, Ken Wall, has absolutely zero star power here, and that is hilarious in its own right. But there is a special guest appearance in this movie by Klaus Kinski that just outdoes the whole thing. He shows up for 2 minutes, speaks one line, and he is fucking out of there. It is very obvious that he owed someone a favor in this case. But the movie really shines in its action set pieces. They are genuinely exciting. Like the movie that it idolizes, For Your Eyes Only, the highlight chase scene takes place at a ski lodge, and there is some really great stunt ski footage in here, some really good downhill camera work, and there's a what is this I don't even stunt, which somehow puts a half a Mac-10 magazine in a bad guy's person. Now there is also some hilarious out-of-context soundtracking provided by Tangerine Dream, who have provided some really great music to movies like Thief and Legend. But these tracks almost seem like session outtakes by Tangerine Dream that Glickenhaus got really, really cheap and just forced to work with the movie in spite of them not. I don't really know what else to say about The Soldier. It is hilariously inept, and it is tons of fun in precisely how little sense it makes, and how all of it seems to be made up of several unused pieces of footage from several other movies, all sort of slammed together to make a single movie. Now, there are some genuinely great, really terrific action scenes in this movie, in spite of its many attempts to sabotage itself, and the violence in this movie is really mean and a little painful to watch, much like Glick's previous movie, The Exterminator. It's pretty hard to find on DVD in North America. I don't believe that anybody has put this out, or if it's still in print, if it ever was in print. But bootlegs are reasonably easy to come by. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's a really, really good time. It's definitely worth your spare time. So, have you seen The Soldier? What do you think of it? Let me know down in the comments. Like always, I am interested in your opinion. And while we're here, let me know what you would like to see in future episodes of the Suicidal Time Machine. Also, take a minute to check out my Patreon profile, which I have linked down in the description. If you feel like you'd like to support Cinema Suicide financially. And I got one of them Tumblr things these days. Have a good time over there. Follow me on Tumblr if you're into that sort of thing. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next Friday.